A Battle Creek veteran is recovering tonight, finally getting the care he needs after a decade of misdiagnosis. Gunnery Sergeant Nick Avery served in Iraq. When he came back, like many other veterans, he was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. But in the 10 years since, his condition has declined so much he lost the ability to care for himself. News Channel 3's Lauren Springer is in studio uncovering the story behind these invisible wounds and the revelation that finally has him on the path to recovery. Lauren.
Well, Brittany, Nick Avery's family is paying $1,000 a day out of pocket for his care because they say he wasn't receiving the attention and treatment he needed at the VA hospital. For them, it's all worth it after just learning the trauma that sent Avery on this downward spiral.
You look awesome, bud.
48-year-old Nick Avery is now dependent on the care of others. The vet's condition unexpectedly declining since 2009.
I want to finally know that he's happy and that he has peace.
Yeah.
I don't want him to live in torment and terror. I don't want him to have night terrors anymore.
Avery's family tells us he wasn't the same after serving 6 months in Iraq, treated for PTSD.
It was like a guard up. He did do some talking about the war, but it was very surface, you know.
But they never thought a decade later it would come to this.
And it just makes you so sad to see that that's where he is at. And he's declining and you're desperate. What can I do for my son?
Avery started losing motor skills about 3 years ago, unable to spell and add at work.
His big motto was, I want my mind back.
His mom taking over his care full-time until they turned to a VA nursing home for treatment.
So he was just walking the halls. He was just being basically taken care of, but there was no stimulation.
As a nurse, I was mortified at what I found. Nick had sores on his body.
The last 3 years have been full of questions.
Nobody could ever tell us what Nick had, what was wrong with Nick.
From a misdiagnosis of Alzheimer's to a doctor accusing Avery of faking his condition.
He asked me, he said, why are you here? And he says, I could be helping somebody that really needs help.
It wasn't until his family went to a brain specialist in Virginia, things changed.
Realized that Nick had been exposed to 5 IED blasts.
And the blasts are so big that the airwaves, it's nothing like the bombs before when they were in the other wars. But this one, they're so strong that they rattled the brain and the skull.
The untreated traumatic brain injury had worn on Avery over the years, and the VA hospital was unable to give him the acute care he needed long term. This July, Avery's family checked him into a center for specialized treatment.
He laughs, he smiles, he actually is saying more words.
And in just the past few months, they've seen big changes.
It lightens our heart to know that we'll see our son again.
I want my brother back.
Yeah.
I want to see him smile and laugh, and I want him mad at me.
Hey, bud.
For taking control of his life. I want him to take over.
You look good.
And a big Fight for Nick fundraiser is being held this coming Saturday to help cover the cost of Nick's care. That will be at the American Legion in Climax starting at 4 o'clock. Tickets are just $7 and includes dinner. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll have much more on Nick's progress and take a look at the many other vets with similar stories struggling for care. Live in studio tonight, Lauren Springer, News Channel 3.